Got it. Huh?
Baptist, and they had me to come right on out there and take the examination, which I'd done took to school down here at this clinic. I went to night school down there for about 2 years, and I know all about how to work in a hospital. And they carried me in there, and I signed up, and they wanted me to go to work that Friday. I couldn't because they had just sent me out of the mill. I had to clean my house up and do my laundry. So I told her, I said, I'll come on Monday morning. And so they sent me over to the shop and fitted me with uniforms, and I went to work at Georgia Baptist Hospital and worked 15 years right there. I retired from Georgia Baptist.
Sorry. Could you talk about being sisters in the mill and how you worked?
Well, the only thing, we cheated them because we let her go to work before she was old enough to go to work. Because she was so desperate to go to work, she wanted to go, and we changed her birthday from May and December. We put her up May. They let her go to work, and so she went in the spinning room marking filling, and I was in the spooler room spooling. And we had another sister that worked part-time, but she didn't work all the time. But me and Lucy worked regular all the time, every day.
Didn't you do a lot of rewinding for me?
Yeah.
Tailor machine? That's what I thought.
A long time, Leroy, I sure did. And when I got tired of that, Leroy, I went back to the wee shop. And you got mad because I transferred over to the wee shop. You told Mr. Florence, I need her. He said, well, Leroy, you can get you another one.
How did you handle children when you were working in the mill?
Well, mine wasn't no trouble. My little mama was a living, and my little mama took care of my children when they would come home from school. My older boys would get the youngest one cleaned up and ready, and they'd do part housework before they went to school, and then they'd take him to school, and when they got out of school, they brought him home and kept him at the house till I got off from work. My older boys took care of that youngest boy, which my daughter was away. She was away in boarding school because I couldn't send her to private school here because she was, what you might say, deaf and dumb. She wasn't dumb, but she couldn't hear, just had one eye. And I sent her off to Cave Springs to boarding school, and she stayed there till she graduated. And the boys, I kept the boys at home.
You had a good mother.
Yes, I could say that.
Miss Callahan told me one time, she says, I had my second son taking dysentery. Mm-hmm. And I had 2 doctors with him, and neither one of them could cure it. Couldn't do anything for him. I told your mother about it coming by one day, and she says, I tell you what you do. Says, you go get you some lime water, some Cairo syrup, and some buttermilk, and says, mix it up like I tell you, and says, your boy will get all right. Well, Dr. Heiser told me that evening, says, I don't know what else to do for him. So I went and got that stuff. Second day, my baby was up playing, just having a big time. And I told Miss Callahan, she said, well, I tell you what, we're even now. I said, what do you mean even? She said, well, you saved my son and I saved yours. And I said, well, I appreciate it. She said, I did too. Yeah. And like I say, your mother was a good woman.
She really believed in helping anybody if she could.
That's right.
Could you talk about how do women handle nursing when they were in the mills?
No, we had a nursery out yonder right at the end of the clinic, and all of our children, Miss Ashmore and Miss Rivers, took care of them children. They fed them, they took care of them, and see that they was had plenty to eat and all. And we just have to leave the mill and come down there. But mine never did stay out there. My mother took care of my children. She kept all them children. even if there's boys, if they didn't do what she told them to, she spanked them. And they know they had to mind their grandmother. And I was so thankful that she made them mind, because I didn't want my young'uns to be rowdy.
Turn it over.
She's about to snow us out from here.
Go
Get up
down
in
the
here.
yard.
Yes, I'm really proud of my mama. She was a good old soul.
Well, now, did
You heard what to make of that?
the women, what did they do when they had to nurse their babies?
Put them on a bottle.
That's right.
had to when it
Sure,
was-
yeah, they put them on a bottle.
But my wife did that.
Absolutely. They didn't come off of the job, come home to nurse that young'un. They put it on a bottle.
Your wife worked in the mill then?
Yeah, my wife worked in the spooler room for years.
Lord help you.
She was in the spooler room working whenever I married her.
That's right. Certainly was.
1936.
Yep. And I was right up there. And I was working 3 to 11. Korean War.
I paid the first week that Social Security started.
Could you talk about Jean Talmadge?
Oh, Lord.
Heavens to be. Why bring that up? Why? That man. Jean
Well, I
Talmadge.
didn't know him, and ain't nothing I could say about him. I just go out here and darn it.
Well, I've seen him many times. I see Jean Talmadge many times. But as for knowing anything in the world about Jean Talmadge, I don't know. I don't know a thing. I sure don't. But evidently he was a good man.
I've seen him ride his bicycle backwards
Yeah.
at the football games.
Yes, he liked crowds. Jean liked to get in crowds. There was no question of that. And he could just out-talk any of them. Jean Talmadge could out-talk any of them.
Do you think he was for the textile workers?
Yes, I do. I really do. I believe he was. I sure do believe Jean Talmadge was for the majority of textile people. Although he wouldn't have worked in the mill. He wouldn't have worked in the mill. You couldn't have drug him in that mill. But he did love to be around where the textile people was. And he loved
He
to
wanted
tell
them to
them.
vote for him for governor.
Yeah, he loved to have a big crowd to talk to. He loved that. But as far as knowing anything about him or where he come from or anything like that, I don't know. But we had a good life on the farm when I was a child. I loved it. We really had a good life on the farm.
Did you go back to the country much afterwards?
Yes, heavens, yes. Till this day, we still go back to the old home place in Forsyth County. We lived there till 1919, and we come here to Atlanta. Well, I'll tell you, we raised a crop that year. I mean, we really had a crop, and had all kind of chickens and hogs. And my daddy come down here when he laid by the crop and went to work. And when time come to gather all
remember
that
him,
stuff,
Leroy?
to gather all of that, us children gathered it, and our mother. And when time come to kill that hog, he come home and did that. And he sold the cow, and we cooked up all the chickens, and we loaded all of our stuff and come to Atlanta and moved right across there at 601 in 1919, in the fall of the year.
Now, did you have a garden and chickens and
Yes,
so
we
forth?
did. Yes, we had raised all. Mother had done put up all the garden. She put up all the beans, the taters, everything. She canned everything she could can.
Now, did you have a place in the mill village in Cabbagetown for a garden?
No. When we moved right over there, we didn't have nothing in that backyard but a coal bin. We was a burning coal in to heat that house. There wasn't no gas and nothing. It was all coal and wood. Wasn't it, Leroy?
Didn't even have no electric light.
No, we didn't have no electric lights. We used lamps. Just what we had in the country.
No screen doors on the house.
No. No screens on the windows, no nothing.
When did you get that?
1919.
When did you get screen doors and so
Oh, it was several years after that.
Up
Several
in the
years.
30s.
Yeah. And that's one thing I can say Fulton Bag Cotton Mill done. They kept up their property. They would paint them houses inside one summer, and the next summer they'd paint the outside. And they kept that property just as clean. They had about 3 men that worked out around the property, and one colored man, and he was good. I'm telling you, that colored man was the best that come in fixing the plumbing and cleaning out around the houses. He was a good man.
Do you remember any colored people working in the mill with you?
No, not when I was in there, no. I didn't have a son of a colored person to work with. Did a Leroy?
No, not way back then.
Mm-mm. Sure didn't. It was just a few years before the mill closed that they went to hiring colored people.
Back in the 60s,
Yeah. Just-
early 60s, when they began to work in it. That's that smart of them.
I was told that they had some of them working outside the mill.
Oh, yeah, in
They had a
the,
yard then.
That's right.
Around the machine shop,
mm-hmm,
way back yonder.
yeah. They was in the machine shop and around the bleachers, but not inside the mill.
In some places I know they were the ones who handled the bales and broke them open and that kind of thing.
Yeah, as in the picker room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you have them in the picker room here?
Yeah.
We didn't have them in the waste house then, though, did we, Leroy?
In the what?
Waste house,
No.
where they carried all that bad cloth and
Old man Krog used to run the waste house.
yeah,
didn't he?
yeah. Mm. And old Cy Craigs. You remember?
Craig, yeah.
You remember when that man fired Syke and made him leave, and he went up Douglasville and rented him a farm up there and made a crop. And about the time that crop was laid by, old man Jake found out that he'd run old Si off. And Si was living here on Savannah Street when they fired him and run him off. And you know, he made Stokes go up there and get him and bring him back down here.
Put him to work.
And he told him, he said, you didn't have to do nothing but sit in a chair. He said, they better put you a soft chair in here, but you're gonna stay in this warehouse the rest of your life. And he said, the next that runs you off, said, I'm gonna run him off. He said, and he sent them workers that worked in that yard up there and gathered that man's farm crop and sold it for him. But old man Jake made him go get him and put him back there in that waste house. That old man enjoyed that
Did you help
morning.
me make my business
Yes, sir, he sure did.
back in the long years?
He was so proud of that old man, I'm telling you. And
Let him get a picture of the owners of that mill.
Yeah, this is one right here. At one time, he was the vice president of the company. This man was the vice president of the company, and this one, and they were also the big general managers. And this is Mano Schoenbach. He was the big vice president of all the money. And he answered Allied Product in Chicago.
Okay, now the others, the
now,
earlier ones?
the Elses, is they in
And
the ones that started Fulton Bag?
this is the founder of Fulton Bag and Cotton Mill, Jacob Elsey. This is his son, Oscar, Benjamin, and Norman. William, we always called him Bill. and Clarence. That was the Elses, the 6 Elses that looked after the company. And like I say, they stayed in the office, but these men could come in the plant at times. This man and all these 3, they run the plant.
And they toured the plant constantly,
Right.
every day.
And this was some of the office men.
Okay. Now, could you,
And here's a lot of the machinery. This is what you call roving, the filling spinning, the warp spinning, spooling and warping. They make these cheese cores and they make section beams out here. And this is a slashing where they put size in it. And this is the weave rooms where it was so hot all the time.
Yeah.
Over here we have the opening in the bleachery, finishing in the bleachery, screen printing. They had 2 of these machines that could print as much as 1 million yards a week.
did the women wear uniforms in the factory?
No,
No.
but we had one general manager there that required no pants, a dress, and stockings
Yeah.
for the
Sure
women.
did.
That's right.
And when the war broke out, World War II broke out, all of us spinners in the 3rd floor wrote up a petition for privileges to wear socks.
That's right. To wear
And we
socks
carried it to
instead of
Mr.
stockings.
Rogers, and we got the privileges, and we all went to wearing socks instead of stockings. They wasn't a better man in the state of Georgia than Mr. Rogers was.
That's
And all
right.
the big bosses was afraid of him.
'Cause he was so plain and easygoing.
Well,
They
he's
thought he was.
the man that sent me to
Don't you
school.
be in that book?
He's the man that sent me to school.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers was.
Good, now, could you look at her pins?
Show him your pins, Lucy.
Well, if I can get them open.
Give me your 40-year one first. Yep. That's your 40-year pin. 2 diamonds and a sapphire. You got one 45, haven't you, with 3 diamonds in
Hold
it?
on, could you hold that
Yep.
for 1 second? I'm a little too close here.
He's gonna have to back up just
Yeah,
a
I'm
little
gonna
bit.
have to back up and try to front.
No, he'll let him do it.
No, it's easier for me to move than you to move.
Yeah.
This is your one for 40-year service.
Wait, not quite ready yet. I'll tell you that.
Which one's the one for 40? The one on with the sapphire?
One with the sapphire is your 40-year service.
Hung up with the clothes.
That's tomorrow.
There we go. That's the 40-year pin.
This one, and this is your 45-year pin.
Put them together now. Yes.
I know you're proud of them, Lucy.
Very, very proud of him, Leroy.
And everybody that went to the parties got watches but me. That's what I got.
Now, Lucy, could you show us the other thing you have there?
This.
This is your 45-year award.
Service award.
16th day of May, 72.
Okay, pass it back to her, and Lucy, I want you to hold it up for us.
Lucy, hold it up for him.
That's fine.
Now, Lucy.
Okay, I know you're proud of these, Lucy.
Always have been.
Yeah. Look at them and think back the years that she put in to get them. A coincidence, one day last week, Leroy, me and Richard was going around and was going up there. And you know, when he was born, I was living in the house with Mother at 601. And them little houses was right straight up and down Boulevard there.
Yeah,
And
4 of them.
no, there's about 6 or 7 of them, Leroy.
I thought there was 4
No,
of them.
there's more than that. It was from this building slapped to Crudman's. And we stopped there at that stop sign. He said, Mother, think back. I would give anything if back when them houses was there on Boulevard, if we could have got a picture there.
Yeah.
Just made a picture of all them houses right there on Boulevard. Said that would be the wonderfulest historical thing that could happen if we could have got a picture and a kept it of all them houses there on Boulevard.
Floyd Johnson used to live in one of
Yes, sir, and I
them.
went
He was the one that
housekeeping
had that
and,
dog that jump off the house.
and jump off of that ladder.
Uh-huh.
He taught that to go up that ladder and jump off.
Jump off the top of the house.
I went to keeping house in that second house there from that building, and Floyd and Ira and them lived in the next one.
Uh-huh.
And back then, there was no houses on the east wall, not a house. And the first one, it's right here on east wall, was a sitting down there right in the middle of that field at that big manhole. And George Roden lived in it, and he had a fence around it and had it full of chickens. And it come a bad rain one day, and them chickens all nearly got drowned because that water backed up there, you know, that sewer stopped up. And, you know, back then, the
When the mill sold the houses in the mid-50s, a lot of them were bought by absentee landlords, and the houses started to go down, and they just continued to go down until about 2 years ago, when a group of community residents got together and decided that we wanted to do something about it. And a lot of the longtime residents were having to move because none of them owned the houses. They all rented. So we got together and formed Cabbagetown Revitalization and Future Trust. We bought some houses from the city, and we've started to build new houses and to fix some of the old ones up. These are 6 of the new houses that we built up on Savannah Street. And another project that we're working on is the mill itself. We're going to redevelop the mill and be a public-private partnership. So I'll tell you a little bit of history about the neighborhood. It's called the Cabbagetown Ballad. We came in 1885 to work in the new cotton mill, for we had heard the pay was good, there were many jobs to fill. We said goodbye to our mountain homes, there to return no more. But we brought with us the way of life that we had known before. We're a mountain clan called Cabbagetown in the city of Atlanta, GA. And if it be the will of God, it's where we'll always stay. Sometimes the way was hard to bear, our lives were never our own. To the owner of a cotton mill, your soul to him belongs. But when the bad times got us down and good times were so few, we'd sing old songs about our mountain homes. Our music would see us through. We're a mountain clan called Cabbagetown in the city of Atlanta, GA. And if it be the will of God, it's where we'll always stay. And now the smokestack smokes no more, no whistle blows at dawn. They've taken all they wanted from us, packed up their cotton and gone. And we are left to live our lives in a world that's never too kind. But the strength of a mountain's in us all, and a new day we will find. We're a mountain clan called Cabbage Town in the city of Atlanta, GA. And if it be the will of God, it's where we'll always stay. We're a mountain clan called Cabbage Town in the city of Atlanta, GA. And if it be the will of God, it's where we'll always stay.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Come on in, Patsy.
We have a lot of doors in here.
Come here.
Joyce, we'd like to do that one. Okay. I'm sorry. No, look. No, you should have. For goodness sakes, I should have warned you.
I should have come in there. I'm sorry.
No, we just got lost here. We forgot we weren't in the studio. Sorry. You see, there's no light out that saying we're recording. No, it's all our fault. I'm sorry.
You can just lock that door and then nobody will be able to get in.
No, they're not start banging on it.
No, we'll station something. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Do I need to call her?
She's not there now.
Really, any issues? Okay. Turn on the window up. Look, because I really need to know an answer about Pearl Street.
Do a documentary about them.
Okay.
Keep a piece
Well,
of
I'll take his desk.
I'll stay outside.
there's kind of some pressure on this from the other end, so we can move some
Okay.
of the
That
fence
works.
over there, here, so.
Yeah.
Kind of hard. I'm not going to hide it there. Okay.
Yeah, because I was at Ben's office this morning, that William was just like, well, he always said was.
So you can put that on the side of the door.
Just get some.
Oh,
It's
it'll
not-
just be me.
Oh, it'll just be you? Oh, okay. All right.
You told me only one you need.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
You just put it on the outside.